I don't know if we're any good after 18 days away, but we're healthy.
Speaking of that, how do you deal with their second double-digit day stoppage? Like, how do you deal with that? It's not like you guys are rolling, then you have a stoppage, and you got just rolling again, you have another stoppage. How do you handle it?
Well, we haven't done very well with it thus far, so I'm probably the wrong guy to ask. I think the hard part for everybody is you don't want to grind your guys out because it's February. It's been a miserable experience for them. We played 13 games. So you want to be in shape, but you want to also be emotionally in a good place. So that to me is the hardest part.
Practice have you been able to conduct with your guys since February 2nd?
Well, about 5 of them we were able to practice a fairly good amount. But then the other 7, because of contact tracing, we couldn't. So I guess I didn't answer that very well, but we've had enough days of practice. It's just whether we're in good enough condition.
When did you have your full team back for a practice, or at least close to it? This week sometime?
We had our whole team back on Monday. So we were supposed to play Wednesday. We had the other guys other than Mikey Bakelja back Friday.
Coach, I'm curious to hear what you think about the Atlantic 10 scheduling news, with them pushing up the tournament games earlier in March, leaving more time in between rounds in case of postponements. How do you think that affects the conference as a whole and affects you guys?
So Dave Harper and I discussed this at, our AD at length. And I don't think it's particularly good for us, but it's good for the league. So we have to bite the bullet for the league. The more interesting part is going to be the schedule adjustments. So when that comes out, that'll be the interesting dynamic of the whole thing.
Do you expect to play games next week before the LaSalle game?
I wouldn't count on the LaSalle game, that particular date on the LaSalle. I think everything's up in the air as far as the actual schedule. I think it'll be a totally different schedule than what's been printed to this point.
Well, the tournament is supposed to start March the 3rd, I believe. After Richmond, how many games do you think you'll be able to play before March the 3rd?
2.
How many games will you be able to play before March?
2, right?
Counting Richmond, 2 more.
2 more. Okay. I thought you said who. Sorry. Okay.
No, 2.
But speaking of that, I mean, what do you do preparedness-wise? You know who you're playing on Saturday, assuming that game happens, but then you don't know who or where you're playing next week. How do you do that?
I think we'll find out after Saturday who we play. And at this point, like most of it now is just making sure we can function.
What does that look like?
I'll let you know after Saturday. Like, I mean, we certainly aren't getting eased into it. Like when you go play like Richmond with all that Princeton stuff and, the experience they have, that's not the easiest game to come back out of a pause. But there's nothing normal this year, so what's the difference? That's kind of how I view it.
How did practice go this week when you had the guys together?
So I think, and I've told this to other people, I think this is a really hard year for old people like me. Old coaches like me, it's really a hard year because, we have set ways we like to do things, and those set ways just don't work right now. So we didn't practice more than an hour all week. I don't know if that's right, wrong, but I feel like that it's a mix between being physically ready and then mentally ready. I think, the disappointments of not playing 13 games on February the 18th is ridiculous mentally. And then not having a college experience is ridiculous mentally. So we have to make sure that we have fun. I think, and believe me, that's hard for me to say an old school guy like me, but I think that's the most important thing right now is we go out there and have fun. If we have fun, we'll win our share of games.
Well, Coach, I guess for you now, earlier it looked like your team was really rolling, possible could make some noise in the tournament. Do you feel your team can get it together enough time to make some noise in the A-10 tournament?
I do. I think it's pretty clear our young guys made a huge jump, right? They became really functional, especially defensively. Toby Okani, Tyson Acuff, Chad Baker, Dre Harris, Mikey Bakelja. They made a huge jump. And then, obviously our two old guys, Marcus Weathers and Mike Hughes, they certainly can play with any front court in this league. And then, Dre Harris, has given us a lift off the bench there too. So defensively, we're better than we've ever been here. Now it'll be a huge test against Richmond because, the timing of it all, but you're talking about one of the best offensive teams in the league, if not the best offensive team against a good defensive team.
So what do you do with so much downtime? You're not used to having downtime like this in February.
I'm the wrong guy to ask. I don't know. I'm just shooting from my hip right now. I'm just trusting my instincts. So again, we want to win as many games as we can win, but we want to be ready for that tournament as well. So, I think we have a better chance to play well in the tournament than we do tomorrow.
Keith, will Bakelja and Murphy play tomorrow?
I would assume so, yes.
Have you talked to you have four seniors? Have you talked to your four seniors about using the extra year of eligibility next season?
We brought it up, but really it's not our focus right now. Obviously, you can't get better players than those guys out of high school. They've played a lot of years, and I think a lot of it's going to depend on, the economy in Europe, what kind of deals the pros can get, what happens with their name, image, and likeness. And, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with everybody's roster next year. But it would be a big boost for us if those guys came back.
Are they considering it at all? Even just considering it, possibility?
Well, I think anybody'd be foolish not to consider all their options, right? I mean, that's what life's all about, is making the best decisions, for your future. And my job is to educate them so that they do make the best decisions without any biasness. I can't do that. I won't show any biasness, even if it hurts us. I won't do that.
Keith, last year, I looked at the Richmond, your lineup against Richmond last year. Four guys who started that game aren't with the team anymore, other than Maceo. How has the team developed over the past year with your young guys? You're getting more out of your freshmen than you might have expected to get?
Well, we had to. I mean, once we lost those three guys, if those freshmen didn't play at a high level, we were in deep trouble. And I'm so proud of what they did. They've played really well, and all of them are a little bit different. But there's very few teams in the country that could have survived what happened to us. And I give our team a lot of credit.
How are the guys handling things mentally?
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to to practice hard every single day when you don't know whether you're going to play and you haven't played. That's probably the hardest thing that I've ever encountered as a coach. I've had to change the way I've really approached practice. I'm just trying to get things done and try to play our game at game time. And normally I wouldn't like some of the things that I see in practice, but nothing's normal this year. So I'm just happy that we come and we like each other every day, and we put time in the gym. I mean, it's just a strange year.
Coach, I know we've asked you at different points in a year, is this worth it at this point? I won't ask you that way, but what I'll say is, is it just as much about just hanging on and just getting through it as, I guess, proving to yourself and proving to the people you care about?
What it's on. It depends on what it's on.
I think that depends on your outlook as a coach. So, like, if you feel like you have no chance to win the tournament, then you'd probably just be trying to get through it, right? But I think we've shown we can play with anybody in this league, right? And if we shoot the ball a little bit better, which I believe we're capable of, and our big guys play at a high level, which we certainly are capable of there. And, Tavian Dunn-Martin shoots the percentages which he's capable of, which I believe guys generally shoot what they always shoot. And so if he gets hot, just like Tremaine Isabel 2 years ago got hot for St. Louis in the tournament, we got a good chance because we're good defensively. If you're good defensively, you should be in every single game. So, no, I'm not playing out the string by any means. I'm just doing it in a different way. Now, if I thought we stunk, I'd play out the string.
That's honest.
But I think we've already proven we don't stink. We're better than stink.
That's the good news.
Yeah, we're dangerous. We're a dangerous team. I mean, it's just whether we can play our best basketball when it matters. And again, this is uncharted waters for me because you can't see how you progress because you stop so many darn times. I think even Richmond, you look at Richmond, they're one of the most fluid offensive teams in the country, right? They're fluid. They're good. And they didn't look like themselves against VCU. And, VCU is a good defensive team, but it doesn't matter. Richmond's better than what they showed on what day was that? Wednesday? So I can't keep track of the days. That's how screwed up I am. So it affects everybody. St. Louis wasn't very good when they got off the pause. Richmond certainly can play better than that. It's going to be interesting to see what Davidson does because they're a fluid team as well. Like, it's hard. Ask Tom Izzo.